You got a green glove on. Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
I've always loved surrealism, so this is my surreal interview. Isn't that cool?
We are back. This is Modern Art Blitz. I am your host, Matt Gleason, and my guest is he, now mine is actually just a white sleeve, okay? So my guest is writer, author, curator, intellect, something else, tons of other stuff, polyglot, artistically speaking, Betty Brown. It says curator there, but you are a woman who has mastered almost everything in life.
No, but I'll take it.
You got to put the microphone close to your, yeah.
No, but I'll take it. Hey, I got to tell you, because
tell
I
me.
heard your last interview, that one of the first contemporary artworks I ever purchased was created by Pierre Picot. And it's hanging actually in my house right now.
Put the microphone
And
close.
it was a painting that he did on a small rice paper calling card.
Wow. A rice paper calling card.
And I bought it at Jan Baum Gallery.
Oh my God. Geez, this is this is a memory lane edition of Modern Art Blitz.
Which is appropriate because you have an art historian here.
How long have you been in the Los Angeles art scene, Betty Brown?
1978.
Wow, 1978. Where were you before then?
School, and then my first teaching job was at Normal, Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois.
You know that's kind of ironic because you're pretty normal. So and then what made the move to the big city?
I got married, and the man I was married to wanted to get yet another graduate degree at USC in journalism. And I really hated the weather in Illinois.
Oh, as the landlords all say, you're paying rent on that weather.
Well, I have not regretted it for a minute. I came to LA in, as I said, 78 as a traditional art historian with a focus on Latin America. And I started seeing a lot of traditional Latin American images in contemporary LA art, and it drew me away from traditional art history into writing and teaching about contemporary art, which is what I do now.
Who were the first Latin American contemporary artists to grab you?
Carlos Almaraz and Judy Baca. I mean, the grandmother and grandfather of
the best of them all.
Chicano art in LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you ever meet Carlos Almaraz?
Oh, yes.
Yes? You're friends with him, you socialized?
I socialized with him and really admired him. And the last time, you were talking about the last time you did a painting, the last time I did a painting was for the memorial exhibition of Carlos after he passed.
After he passed in 1985, 86 maybe?
So, right around there at Barnstall at the Los Angeles
At Barnstall, so they had a whole tribute show. And you made a painting?
I made a gold Day of the Dead cross.
Wow.
Gold Day of the Dead skull.
Skull.
With Carlos's name on it.
Wow. And Eli Broad bought it?
Not that.
No, okay. So you consider yourself primarily like the top billing is historian.
Exactly.
Isn't history written by the winners?
Well, gosh, I don't think women are big winners in this country these days, to say the very least. And a lot of us art historians are female. So no, I don't think history is just written by the winners. And I will say, because I know you, Matt, I know that you're not in favor of art school, and you often belittle the academy, but I truly believe that those who don't study history are destined to repeat it.
Doomed to repeat it, as Jim Jones said.
And I am constantly amazed by artists in the LA art world who do something they think is so cool and new and innovative.
And it's been done.
And it was done 100 years ago.
But the irony is it's the collectors who don't know and buy it thinking they're buying something new.
But the artists are creating it thinking they're creating something new too.
Absolutely.
And that level of ignorance is just concerning to me because
But you know, my problem with the Academy is the de-skilling of the craft of art has also been a de-skilling of the intellect of art. And I'm not against the Academy as much as I'm against schools that treat students as customers and just give them a satisfying experience of having gone to school as opposed to a rigorous. Obviously, you went through a rigorous program. Do you think the rigor is as much today in these college programs as it was when you went to school?
I studied art history to get my master's and PhD, but my undergrad was in painting. And at the time I received that, now I'm old, I got my undergraduate degree in 1971.
Wow.
At which point, probably none of the viewers were alive, but...
I was in first grade in 1971.
So, in the 1970s, Clement Greenberg still had a stranglehold on the art world. His ideas and Harold Greenberg's were still very...
Harold Rosenberg.
I'm sorry, you're right, Harold Rosenberg.
I just had to do it because you're an art historian.
And you're right, I misspoke. So those New York critics, white male
Wait, the 70s.
critics,
So this is 15 years after the death of Jackson Pollock. You're telling me the champions of action painting were still... Who in the art world holds power and sway for 15 years now? That's unheard of.
Clement Greenberg is still influencing people all over the planet 100 years later.
Really?
Oh my God, I gave a talk in Beijing one time where they asked me if I would please speak about why Greenberg was no longer the leading critic in this country.
Do you know, let me make an analogy for you, just because I have a historical anecdote. Imagine if somebody asked you why isn't Ethel Merman the greatest singer in America, still isn't considered the greatest female singer, right? Why, that would be absurd, right? Okay, how absurd would that be if somebody had asked you that? Well,
false analogy, man.
No, I'm coming.
Performance is not the same as intellectual rigor.
No, but I'm coming around to it.
Okay.
One must wait. Don't they teach you patience in them art schools? Clement Greenberg was born the same day and year as Ethel Merman.
But his ideas have outlasted him. And one of the ideas that both Rosenberg and Greenberg had was that of the dumb artist. And by dumb, they meant not only anti-intellectual, they actually use that term, dumb artist.
Wow.
But anti-intellectual, but also dumb, as in mute.
Like the artist shouldn't speak, the critic should speak.
The critic should speak, and the artist didn't really know what he was doing, operative term there, he didn't know what he was doing anyway.
Don't you think a lot of curators treat things like this? I once went to a Mark Rothko show, and this is in recent history, a Mark Rothko retrospective at the Whitney, and it had on the thing, it said, Rothko said this about his work, but he was mistaken. Here's what his work was really about. Isn't that insulting?
So insulting.
Now, as a
wrong.
curator, you would never do that.
Absolutely not.
What is the show that you've curated in your long history of curating that you're the most proud of?
I'm the kind of person who actually really likes the way my career is unfolding. So I have to answer that by saying the most recent one I did.
It's always the most recent one.
Always the most recent. So I did, in September, an exhibition that I co-curated for Ground Space Project, an alternative gallery on East 4th Street.
Near the Arts District.
Near the Arts District. And I called the show Fantastic Feminist Figuration.
FFF. Oh, three Fs. Okay.
And it was about a dozen women artists from all different kinds of places. As it happened, I had 2 Israeli artists in the show. And they do pop surrealist figurative art.
Pop surrealist. Do you mean lowbrow?
No, I mean pop surrealist.
What is the difference between...
Lowbrow is one aspect of pop surrealism. But not all pop surrealism is lowbrow.
Lowbrow is a subset. You're an art historian, so you're saying lowbrow is a subset of pop surrealism. And pop surrealism is a subset of surrealism?
Figurative art,
Big tent?
Big tent is figurative art.
You know, I once asked Robert Williams, who you are now as an historian claiming is a
pop surrealist.
A pop surrealist, lowbrow.
And lowbrow.
I said something about surrealism to him, and he said, and I'll try to imitate his wonderful accent here, the surrealists were communists. He was very offended.
And he was very right. They were communists.
They were communists. My defense was they were pretty lousy communists, you know.
They were communists Bobby Kennedy was a communist.
Well, they were communists like suburban kids were punk, right?
Right.
You know, you got to move to the big city.
Right. Well, they did live in the big city, but they were communists. But they aspired to create a world that would not lead them into yet another war. And I wish more artists cared about that today. Where
do you see historically art, I guess I have to say contemporary art, where do you see art going we are filming this on the last Sunday of the Obama administration. Donald Trump will be inaugurated president Friday at noon.
One can always hope that won't happen.
Well, okay, where do you see contemporary art? Do you see the influence? Well, if you've been around long enough, did you see a radical shift in art when Ronald Reagan was elected, who was a very controversial figure? When George Bush, and I'm picking on these people because they look, what is this? The marriage what's this marriage? Look at the screen there. This is?
Well, that was a piece I was going to talk about, but we've kind of gone in a different direction.
That's not Donald Trump with a hat on, I'll tell you that much.
No.
No.
That's Giovanni Arnolfini.
So where do you see it going under Trump? Do you see a lot more protest art coming up? Do you see resistance?
I think we are going to see a lot of protest art, but I think we're already seeing a lot of protest art. And everybody I know is signed up to create art and wear it and march and protest. Everybody I know, literally. And I think that hard times, sadly, often produced really great art. The Renaissance happened when Florence was on the verge of overextension, financial crash.
Okay.
And I think that we may get some great art out of this, but I also think that art that is propaganda first inevitably suffers aesthetically.
But isn't the goal of propaganda, the goal of every political protest is to become outdated by being successful?
Yes, but I don't like saying outdated. Maybe the goal of every political process is to shift the discourse. And then once it's shifted, then you shift further.
So Betty, politics aside, curating aside, your writing, what do you focus on in your writing?
I write art criticism as an extension of my teaching practice. And I think that familiarity breeds appreciation in the art world. And a lot of people don't understand contemporary art. And my goal is to give them a door or a window through which they can achieve some kind of insight or understanding.
Wow. How do you build that door?
I frame the artwork in contemporary and historical cultural context. And I talk about in very personal terms what it offers me, and give them options to choose what it might offer them.
The thing I most love about your professional practice is the absence of art speak.
Thank you.
And a person with an average intellect, which by the way, an average intellect is above most intellectuals in the art world anyway. But a person of an average intellect you don't need the jargon, the molasses of jargon that you just can't get to the pancake through. You're giving people the pancake.
I believe that writing and art are both communication modalities. And if you can't communicate, you're failing.
See, when you say modalities, you lose my audience. No, okay, I'm just kidding. They're smarter than that. They're smarter than that.
They're both communication things.
Tell me about that thing.
And then you lose the practice.
So, what have you written? How many books have you written? Hundreds?
No. It really depends on what you mean by the word book, to be Clintonian about it.
What is the meaning of is?
Yeah, what does it mean in a book? I've written a few standalone books. I've written lots and lots of catalogs.
Your book on Hollywood, which that to me, like, I can't watch a movie now. I'm always wondering, how would Betty add a chapter about this? Tell us about your Hollywood book.
My son often says to me, we just went to see Rogue One yesterday.
Okay.
And I love nothing more than a date with my son. We always have great conversations, and, I was really selfishly glad to get him to a movie without his girlfriend, so we could actually have that kind of conversation. Anyway, when we go into movies, he always says, Mom, can we not do the feminist critique afterwards?
Uh-oh. What is your feminist critique of Rogue One?
I think Rogue One is too long and too much violent fighting, but has beautiful moments and is exquisitely well acted and satisfies what it sets out to do.
Can you still believe that Annie Hall beat Star Wars for Best Picture?
No.
I can't believe it.
No. I can't
The
either.
12-year-old in me is still pissed.
I was a lot older than 12, and I still can't believe it.
I'm trying to do the math. Maybe I was 14. Okay. So, so tell us about, what was the title of your book on Hollywood?
Let's see. It's 4 stereotypes that artists have been labeled with.
We're streaming.
Criminal, victim, hero, the image of artists, and the mass media.
We're streaming live, but when we are archived on YouTube, like every episode of Modern Art Blitz, that part will be.
That book.
Okay, so what are you working on now? Are you working on a big book now?
I am. I'm working with the publisher Bill Lazaro on a book that has the working title of Enduring Creativity. And it's about contemporary artists who were in their late 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Wow.
Because what I found in writing my book about June Wayne, who died in her 90s, still making art up until the week before she passed, was that for, unlike almost any other profession, visual artists often have a sustained output, and it gets better as they age.
Why do you think that is?
Have you heard of the psychological concept called the flow?
Yes.
So we've all had this experience.
Have you?
Where we've all had this experience where we get into something and it is so consuming and we're so into it and we're liking it so much and we're doing it, and then suddenly we come to hours later and we realize we've been doing it for 4 hours. For me, it's often writing, and for a lot of painters, it's painting. And this total immersion in your practice, which is called the flow in psychological terms, often has huge emotional payoff. And it is often the most sustained and intense at oneness that Buddhists and meditators talk about. And that's what art production does for these people.
So art makes you live longer.
And better.
And better, if you're a good artist.
If you're a committed artist.
Committed. Committed to your practice, not to a loony bin.
That's right. Although there have been, as you know, more than one committed artist who were committed to loony bins and continue to make great artists.
Into their 90s?
Yayoi Kusama.
How quick an answer was that from the art historian?
Agnes Martin.
Agnes, she got in and out, but she was,
Same
okay.
with Yayoi, and they both.
Yeah, okay. She's just too sharp for me. My guest has been Betty Brown. Betty, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Matt.
And thanks for watching Modern Art Blitz.
Thanks.
This was our 53rd episode. Wow. She has no hand.
What is that? I feel like Laurie Anderson with the glove.
Wow, there you go. You didn't have to put up with Lou Reed as a husband for many years.
Right, thank God.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Sunday live at 5 on dronebox.com.
Bye.
Woohoo! All right. Wow. That was, man.